this video I'm going to show you all a magic trick that I recently mastered. Watch the L plate, keep watching the L plate, watch the L plate for me. You got it? Keep watching it, okay? Now blink. And look! Isn't that amazing? You want to know how I did it? Well, you're in luck. Hello YouTube, Miller Corner here, welcome back once again, and today I wanted to go over something that has taken over a lot of my life. It took over a long period, we're talking months of my life was spent on this, and it all accumulated into one specific moment that absolutely made my week, possibly even my month, and it made all that effort absolutely worth it. I'm talking of course about the day that I passed my driving test. That's right. Long before I even started on this channel, and in fact up to about a month ago, I've been taking driving lessons, I've been practicing, getting better and improving to actually be at a point where I can pass my driving test. And let me tell you, it's not been an easy experience. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of times when I needed to improve more than I thought I would, and ultimately it culminated in a driving test that I took almost a month ago to the day, and I passed it, and I cannot tell you how happy I was about that. What I wanted to do in this video is go over some of my thoughts, feelings and experiences while learning to drive, how brilliant it was when I actually passed my test, and what I've learned, improved on and discovered since passing my test and driving here, there and everywhere. I started learning to drive back in December of last year. I took my first driving lesson in the rain. Not a good omen, I'm afraid, but it went well. I have to say I enjoyed it. I'd never been in proper control of a moving car on the road before, and it was really fun. I've got to say, we only drove around a little housing estate, but it was enjoyable, and I got to grips with the gears and with the steering and with road positioning and things like that within just 2 lessons, and I was loving it. I have to say, I've been a petrol head since I was really young. We're talking 6 years old, 7 years old, that kind of age. So I've wanted to learn to drive for years, so to finally get to do it was an incredible experience, and it genuinely is. I was sitting there bouncing up and down in the seat and enjoying myself. It's really brilliant. Unfortunately, I was rather anticipating passing my test from learning to drive to take roughly 3 months. For those of you that don't know, to take 3 months from starting to passing your test for driving in the UK is not a very long period of time at all, really. I was setting my sights quite high. Very few people get to test standard within 3 months, and even fewer actually pass their test when they do take it over a period of just 12 weeks. It took me slightly longer than that. It ended up taking me roughly 6 months. I have to say though, taking a long period of time is no bad thing, because there weren't any glaring issues in my last month of learning to drive. It was all about brushing up on the little things, the little issues, just the little road positionings and the knowing when to do things. It's quite good because you can see yourself improving, and over a period of a couple of months you can feel how much better you are, and I genuinely got that. One thing I did like about the sharpening of small things phase over the last month or so of learning to drive was that you could feel the improvement. I could go out there and I could feel that was a much better drive. I did this better, I did that better. It's genuinely a much better experience because you don't feel like a novice anymore. You don't feel like you're in people's way. You feel like you're keeping up with the traffic, you're in the flow, and it's brilliant. However, there were some frustrating moments. I'll be honest, there was points when I was struggling to master a parallel park. For those of you that don't know what a parallel park is, it's to pull past a car parked to the side of the road and reverse backwards into a parking space behind that car. It's not easy, particularly as a learner driver when you're still trying to get used to the whole clutch and accelerator thing, you're still trying to use all your mirrors and get used to how much steering lock is appropriate. It's not an easy thing to do as a learner driver, and it's still not something I'm perfect at to this day. But when I could finally do it properly to the point where I wouldn't incur any minor penalty points on my driving test, by the word of my instructor, I was happy. And that was what I did throughout. I spent the whole time going through, doing each tiny little part of driving and going through the test books that you will have seen in my very first video, the highway code and driving the essential skills, to actually find out the little bits, the little things I could do to improve. I had comments from my parents and from my driving instructor about how much better I was getting. Learning to drive is not always a fun experience, and believe me, towards the end of it, particularly if it's taken you a slightly longer period of time than some people, you will feel like everybody and their mother has passed their test, has their own car and is doing better than you. I know I certainly had that when various work colleagues of mine were passing their test, having their test and off driving and doing things months before I'd even booked my driving test. The build up and tension to a driving test doesn't help when, in my area of the country at least, there was a 1 month, 2-week waiting list. That's right, I booked my test and I had to wait nearly 6 weeks to the actual test date. On the one hand, it is a good thing. It gives you plenty of time to identify any specific issues, brush up on them and get yourself to a brilliant standard. On the other hand, it does mean you've got more time to stress, to worry, to panic, and it is a really stressful experience. You spend the whole time in there with an examiner who refuses to hold much conversation with you and is determined to pick you up on any tiny little error, and you spend most of the test looking at everything, all your mirrors, all your angles out of all your windows, at every other car on the road, and constantly monitoring your speedo to try and make sure that you incur minimal minor penalty points, because you are determined. You've just got the adrenaline pumping, you've got the worry, but you want to do this. And that's how I was. I had the determination, I had the drive, and I'd been practicing literally every day. For those of you wondering, I did indeed pass my driving test first time, incurring just 7 minor penalty points, which I discovered later is actually really good to have passed. I wasn't sure whether it was the best bit of driving I've ever done, but what I can tell you is it was good enough to pass a driving test. And the moment when I was told that I had passed was simply incredible. The feeling of relief and excitement, it's just unbelievably, amazingly brilliant to have that feeling going on. And when I got handed the pass certificate, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. In fact, to give you some idea of the feelings that I had on the day, some of the emotions, my thought processes, and just how I felt about the situation, what you're about to see is a dramatisation of the moment that I passed my driving test. Okay, Mr. Miller, if you would like to make yourself comfortable. Mr. Miller. As much as your driving was not of a perfect standard, we do however feel at the DVSA that you are of a satisfactory enough standard to pass your driving test. So congratulations, Mr. Miller, you have indeed passed. Congratulations on passing, and drive safely. Yes, that was indeed a brilliant day. I loved that, and I spent the whole rest of the day beaming. However, after passing your test and feeling like you're on top of the world, you're very quickly brought down a couple of notches, because certainly in the UK, learner driver insurance won't cover you the second that you pass your test, because of course you're no longer a learner driver. So I had to get in the passenger seat of the car, and my dad had to drive me home. It was at that point I discovered quite how far back the instructor had the seat. Woo! I later found out the instructor has the seat reclined so far so that they can have a good view of the road, of all the mirrors, of my eyes and where I'm looking, and of the speedo to make sure I'm not speeding. But honestly, it was like having some sort of recliner in the passenger seat, and I could have fallen asleep on it. Except of course I couldn't, because I was on a high, a massive high. I had a massive smile across my face, and the moment we got home, the P plates came out of the wrappers and were slapped on the car as quickly as I possibly could get them on there. As of filming this video, the P plates recently came off my car, and it gives me even more freedom to just drive around like a normal driver. And to be honest, I'm perfectly happy with it. I've settled into driving perfectly, and it was simply a thrilling experience. Learning to drive is one of the most intense, longest, most time-consuming, most complicated, and at times the most stressful learning experience you will ever have. And I have to say that it beats any SATs, any GCSEs, any school things, hands down. But here's the thing, it may be a stressful, difficult, tiresome, time-consuming, and actually kind of expensive experience, but learning to drive is one of the most useful skills you will ever have. With it, you've got far more freedom to drive anywhere and everywhere that you can and want to. It also means you don't have to rely on the times, the unreliability, and the cost of public transport, which I've certainly had to for months now to go to college. Since starting college in September of last year, I've had to take almost daily trains to college, and I've accumulated a massive pile of train tickets to the value of what I would probably guess is around £300. That's actually slightly scary when I think about it. But the point is, now I don't have to. I'm free of trains, I'm free of buses, I'm free of all public transport, because I have a driving license. For the sake of my own embarrassment, I won't be showing you the photo that's on it, but what I can tell you is it's just as bad as everyone else's. Now that I've passed my test, I feel like all that effort, stress, time and money was worth it, and it's definitely a skill, a qualification, and just a general life feature that I will hold on to for the rest of my life, and I will thank myself that I took the time to do it. Since passing my test, I've gone out and I've done a lot. I've driven hundreds and hundreds of miles on motorways, dual carriageways, twisty country roads so I can really get into the drive. To the countryside, I've gone to different cities, I've gone to little towns, I've gone shopping, I've gone out with my mates. I've taken advantage of being able to drive anywhere and everywhere as much as I possibly can, and from the day I passed my test, for 3 weeks I was out every single day driving and enjoying it, and I have to say it still puts a big smile on my face to this day. For those of you on the fence about learning to drive, particularly if you're of a younger age, I would advise you to do it. It's not cheap, it's not easy, it will be stressful, and at times you will feel like everyone's better than you, as you do with learning most things, but believe me, when you actually push through with it and you get good and you can feel yourself getting better, it's definitely a worthwhile experience, because I've taken a lot away from it, and it's going to be something that I can use for work, for fun, for enjoyment, and of course it means I can go to different places to give you guys better videos in the future. In short, it's definitely worth doing, and if you're even considering learning to drive, go with it. Do it. It was a long, tiresome experience, but 100% worth it. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to do that thing. If you didn't like it, do that thing. But whatever you do, don't forget to do that thing. Type down below, and I want to learn about your learning to drive experiences. Can you tell me any little mishaps, any funny comments you had from your instructors or your parents? Can you tell me how long it took you to learn to drive? Did you pass first time? What was your first car? I want to know all these things. I want to learn all about you guys and girls, and I want to learn about your learning to drive and passing your driving test experiences. For those of you that are on lessons now and learning to drive, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you all once again so much for watching the video, guys and girls. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure to click that subscribe button if you fancy some more stuff from me in your subscriptions box, and I will catch you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.